SoCal Filipinos, in partnership with FilAm ARTS, proudly presents Filipinos in Music, the DJ edition. Our panelists for today include DJ Icy Ice, DJ 360, DJ E-Man, and DJ Marlino. And now, Jason Lastina of SoCal Filipinos.
Good afternoon, everybody, and happy early Easter. My name is Jason Lastina, the founder of SoCal Filipinos. Welcome to today's panel, Filipinos in Music, DJ Edition, in partnership with FilAm ARTS. I'm excited to introduce you to our host and moderator, DJ Marlino. DJ Marlino, also known as the 5 Foot of Funk, is a program director for Mix and the founder and host of Heavy Rotation, the first and only global podcast and music TV show for Filipino hip-hop and R&B. Throughout his career in the music industry, he had the opportunity to interview major artists like Snoop Dogg, Alicia Keys, Common, Queen Latifah, and more, and now devotes his career to cultivating and putting the spotlight on Filipino artists worldwide. Please welcome DJ Marlino.
Hey, how's it going, Justin? How are you? I'm
good.
Jason, sorry.
It's
I'm
okay.
already
A lot of people make that mistake because they put my first name and last name together.
Together, yep, exactly.
Yeah. But you're not calling me Justina, so I'm okay.
There you go. How are you? How's your holiday going?
It's going well. It's been crazy busy, but I'm excited for today's panel. So I'm going to go ahead and let you take it away.
Amazing. All right. Thank you, Jason. And then for everyone out there, welcome again to our Filipinos in Music DJ edition presented by SoCal Filipinos Facebook group and FilAm ARTS. And today we are going to hear from our panelists on their path, experience, accomplishments in their field. And I got 3 amazing people here today. So first off, let's bring up Isaiah Dacio, also known as DJ Icy Ice. Let's see, Ice, there you are. What's up, brother?
Hey, how's it going, Marlino?
Long time no see. It's like been a week.
Yeah.
I'm excited to have Ice.
Time.
I've known Ice for a very, very long time. I want to say it was 95 is when I first met you. Yeah. So that's been a huge minute. So I'm glad to have you on this. And we're definitely going to talk about your career and get to the real chunk of everything that you've done. So let's go ahead and bring on our other guest, Jinky Cruz, also known as DJ 360. What's going on?
Hi, everybody. How you doing?
What up, 360? How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
I like the new look that you had. I've been kind of watching you on on Twitch and just seeing how you're doing. So very, very excited to have you. How are you feeling this weekend?
Oh man, it's a little bit overwhelming. A lot of stuff to do. It's a holiday, big streaming weekend. So, but good to be here. Thank you guys for having me.
We're definitely excited to have you here. And let's bring our last panelist. He's known as Emmanuel Kokia, is also known as DJ E-Man in the building.
Hey, what's up, Marlino?
What up, E? How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing good. Like I was telling Ice, like I've known you for a very long time as well. I think 96 is when I first met you. And I always talk to you about this when I see you.
Yeah.
So definitely excited to have you here as well. And so for everyone else watching, if you want to get to know our panelists, they have their bios online somewhere. And so I'm sure you guys will get a chance to read up on their bios, but we're going to get into a lot of questions here because I know a lot of people are waiting to see what is going on. So, all right, let's start off with the first question for all our panelists. As DJs, we've all had a start. What was it about DJing that made you say, that's all me, I need to do that? And we'll start here. We'll go with Ice 360 and then E-Man.
I think the first thing that caught my eye, I learned instruments as a young kid. So I think the musicality of being a DJ, it caught my eye immediately. Being able to play your favorite songs, manipulate, AKA scratch the music and make music with music. That was just like jaw-dropping for me. And I said, I got to do that. So that's what caught my eye at first.
What about you, 360?
Well, I've always loved music. I think I've had a lifelong love affair with it. And just the local DJs around my town. Big ups to 805 Oxnard. And to be honest, Icy Ice kind of made me want to do all of this. You know, just listening to all his mixtapes. I'm gonna tell you, I'm a butter you up, Ice. It's for real though. Yeah.
Thanks, Jinky.
Yep.
Appreciate you.
All right, E-Man, what about you?
I got to shout out my cousin Oliver, Ollie Estrada. He actually got me into mixing. One day he played me a mixtape from way back when, and he was just like, "Yo, you got to check this out." And then next thing you know, just started practicing with him the art of DJing, and that's what really got me into it.
Amazing. So I want you guys to think back. Who was that first person that gave you that chance to be out there and be a DJ?
Ooh. Are we talking like from the very beginning, or are we talking our first break?
Let's go very beginning. Let's get down to like the real root of what would you say is the first start?
Interesting.
You guys, are we all thinking because it was such a long time ago? Like I feel like everybody's had such a long career.
I'm gonna say my parents. If it wasn't for my parents, like they were very supportive out the box, you know, just practicing from a one turntable cassette player stereo system to telling them, hey, you know, I really want to get into DJing, to be very supportive. And as you know, with traditional Filipino parents, you know, they have an expectation of getting involved in something else. And especially growing up, you know, getting into different, you know, things like if it's, you know, the medical field or a lawyer and all that. But if anything, they were the ones who were very supportive. So shout out to my parents, Virginia and my dad, Emmanuel.
Nice. ISR 360, which one wants to take it?
Go ahead, 360.
Actually, all roads lead to Icy Ice. This is crazy.
Nice.
It's amazing that you like put us together in this panel. Ice has a friend named Richard Rapinette. Richard Rapinette is from Carson, and he was living in Oxnard, and he's the one who actually taught me how to DJ. So if we talk about like roots and stuff, he's the one who taught me, and it's all on vinyl. You know, before digital age and everything like that. So I think that's where that started for me, and from there it was just really bedroom DJing. So you know, it just kind of took off from there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow. I remember Richard. I remember the day Richard brought you to my house too.
Yeah.
All right. What about you, Ice?
Man, well, likewise, I got to acknowledge my parents. Props to my parents for putting up with all my noise and all the loud music early in the morning, all the way till late night. And then when we had Legend, man, they put up with hundreds of people at our house on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think my first person that gave me my break was Jimmy Corpus. He had a group called Spectrum, and they were like the Legend Entertainment or the United Kingdom of the Filipino scene from the 80s. And he was running the club scene and all of that. And he gave me my break. He taught me the ropes. Kind of was like my very first mentor, if you want to say that.
Nice. So now all of you guys kind of have this foot in the door. You know, you guys starting to do your thing. But when did you know that you wanted to take DJing seriously, like as a profession or even as a career? Because, you know, that doesn't really happen overnight, right? It's kind of like, oh, this is kind of cool. You start getting into it. And then all of a sudden a light bulb clicks and you're like, you know what? I can actually make a living off this. So when was that for all of you guys? We'll start with Ice and go that way or this way.
Should be ladies first, though.
Oh man. Oh whoa. What was the question again?
When did you know that you wanted to take DJing seriously as a career?
So the funny thing about it is that it's not really my career. I actually just do this on the side. I'm a senior user experience designer by trade. So that's what I do all day. The things that I do with DJing is usually after hours and on the weekends. But if we want to talk about like really doing more with it, I think that like started, you know, when I was with Cerritos All-Stars doing a show, internet radio out here. That was kind of the segue going into doing club DJing out here in the Bay. So I think that to answer your question, that's what I got.
Nice. Now, all of us know Ice and Eman, you guys are both on radio. So I'm interested to hear how, when was that first time that you actually said, I'm going to do this seriously as a profession? Let's go with you, Ice.
With me, I think it even started before I got on radio. We were already doing the big nightclubs, or we had graduated and started doing big nightclubs. Of course, we started in small parties and then worked our way up. But when we started doing the big clubs, and I saw the potential of uniting people and bringing people together, making people happy, I saw that there was a future in it. And so it started with that. And then to answer your question as far as radio, yeah, my first start in radio was through Julio G. Coincidentally, E-Man was trying to get me on Power at the same time. And it just so happened Julio put me on air before E-Man was able to get the okay to get me on Power 106. So yeah, Julio G was the first guy that gave me my break on radio.
Nice. All right, E, your turn.
Well, I always tell the story of how DJing for me was a hobby that turned into a business, into a career. And of course, as we all kind of started, as 360 said, a bedroom DJ, this is how we kind of all started. It was a hobby for us. And then when it became a business is when we kind of started doing our like private parties. We started our own mobile DJ company and was doing private events from proms to dinner dances to weddings and all that. And then, I started hearing mixing more on the radio. And it kind of motivated me to be like, you know what, I got to see if it's something I could do. Let me see if I could take myself to the next level and submit this demo to the radio station. And that's how it all kind of started. Just hearing what I was hearing on the radio and kind of pushing myself to take myself to that next level. And then luckily sending this demo to Power 106, getting an opportunity to do a guest set on Power back in, I'm going to age myself here, in February '94, and then developing a relationship with the people at Power, and then getting that break on Christmas Eve. I did an on-air audition. Ice, I think Ice was there with me, if I'm correct.
I was there with you
on this on-air audition, along with my wife, my girlfriend back then, my wife now, Joy. And then from there, it turned into a radio career.
That's crazy. So now we're going to kind of go into, because I know E, you talked about your parents as well as you, Ice, but what was that reaction when you did tell them like, hey, I'm going to start DJing. Like, I'm not going to do like what you were saying, like a typical traditional Filipino career, right? What did they actually say to you that, meant that they were supportive of you in doing all this? And this is for all of you guys too, as well.
I think our parents seeing us in action. I think that's what kind of opened up their eyes and I guess you say their heads into like, okay, I think you can do this. I think this is something you can do. Of course, at the same time, they were like, hey, make sure you finish school, go to college, get your degree. But if this is something you want to do, we support it. But I think the fact that, like my dad coming on to some of the gigs and helping me out, and my mom even seeing me at some of the gigs, I really think that helped open their eyes and, like I said, their heads to like, okay, I think you could do this.
Yeah. All right. What about you guys?
Well, with me, it wasn't like a definitive, hey, this is what I'm going to do. It was just gradual. I just kept doing it. And eventually they just gave up telling me to go to school. Although my dad keeps telling me, even up till just recently, he's like, hey, why don't you work in radio? Why don't you talk to E-Man? Maybe he can give you a job. I'm like,
now, did you blast your Sherwin Vega earthquakes in your house too when the parents were home?
Yeah, no, I ended up selling all of that old equipment, man. But I wish I did keep it. I wish I still had it to this day. But yeah, there was no one point that I said, Mom, Dad, this is what I'm gonna do. It was just kind of gradual. I was doing like E-Man. It became a business. I was doing a lot of different events. Then I'm doing corporate functions. Then I'm doing things, and then they see they see that you're growing, and then you're starting to do bigger things, and then you're traveling, and then you're touring, and then before you know it, years have gone past and I'm still doing it.
Yeah.
And so I think they just kind of accepted it.
All right, 360, what about you?
Well, yeah, I don't think my parents, to be honest, they support a lot of what I do. However, I don't think they really realized what I was doing until like maybe 2018. They knew that I was going out and gigging, and I would be traveling here and there. And when I come home and do Snapback with Ice, like I would see them or whatever. But they just she's a DJ. You know, that's all that she's doing. You know, but it wasn't until I went to the Philippines, and they've never watched me do anything before, do any gigs or any events. Though they wanted to, they hung out with me in Manila when we played, or when I played at Xylo in BGC. At
I mean, that's not like a little club either. That's a huge club.
That's like mega club. Like it was actually, it felt a lot bigger than Vegas mega club, which was crazy. But my parents got, and that was my dream for, I was like, well, one of these days my parents are gonna know what I do when I'm not at my desk job, you know.
Yeah.
And they had a great time. Ace Ramos, shout out to Ace Ramos. He took care of my family. Like we had an awesome table. They had an awesome view. It was just amazing. And then after that, we, you know, because this is the first time I ever met my family in the Philippines. Philippines is beautiful. First time there, I got to do it big in Manila, and then they're off telling all of my cousins and my aunts and uncles, like, oh, she's a big DJ. She DJ'd over there in Manila. Like, big deal. Like, and they're like, oh, she's like some kind of celebrity. I'm like, I'm really not. That was just the one time. But they were so proud of me. And then that's when it hit them. They're like, oh, that's what she does. And that's where she goes late at night, you know, when she says she's going off to a gig. So, yeah.
It's crazy how it's the tangible part that when our parents see it is when there's now the full acceptance or supportiveness, because now they can see like the ROI or the return of you know, what your efforts look like. So quick shout outs. Let's say a shout out to Margie, was one of the first people to comment. Also, we see Mommy in there. Cindy Ruiz de la Cruz is in the house. Jamie, we see you out there. And so for everybody tuning in, this is Filipinos in Music, the DJ edition presented by SoCal Filipinos Facebook group and FilAm Arts. And so 360, let's stay with you really quick. When you hear people refer to you as a female DJ, like how does that make you feel?
I know that females feel some kind of way about that. However, I guess I look at it, you know, there could be, it's just a description, right?
Yeah.
We're all DJs and we're all doing the same thing and at different levels. I don't mind it. It's kind of cool because my name, I wanted it to be, okay, is it a male or a female? Which on Twitch, a lot of people say, oh, what up, bro? And I'm like, I'm a girl, which is awesome. And I did that on purpose, right? So when they refer to me as a female DJ, I'm actually proud. I'm proud to be female and in my skin and do what I do as a female. Like I'm gonna own that. And I know some females want that equality and say a DJ is a DJ is a DJ, don't matter what gender. You know, call me a DJ, call me a female DJ. I'm gonna own it. So I'm very good with it.
My sister was exactly like that, though. My sister was like, "Hey, I don't want you to look at me as a female DJ. I want you to look at me as a DJ. I want
Just
my skills to be on par with anybody." You know, so that was.
And it was.
Yeah. Actually, DJ Symphony was actually one of the first DJs that I actually knew. So I got a big up to Sin for doing her thing too. So got to big her up for that.
And I named my second child after her.
Really?
Her name is Symphony. Yeah, her middle name is Symphony. I wanted it to be the first name, but I lost that battle. And she even said, I want you to call me Symphony. And I was like, okay, that's what I wanted for you anyway. But that's a fun fact, named after Ice's sister, because I looked up to her as well.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Man, I don't even know where to go with this now. So 360. So kind of staying on the, you know, the female DJ aspect of it. Did you feel like your obstacles were greater than like a quote unquote, like a regular DJ, if you will? Like, did you feel like you have to work extra hard, or do you feel like you have an advantage?
At first, you have to work really hard because nobody knows you. You don't have that cred You know, nobody, you don't have that name. So once I have established a name, even in small circles, it was tough. Or going through that, it was tough because you're like, she's just a girl, or oh, she probably, you know, just blends back and forth or whatever. That's it. But once I was able to like get a really good footing in the circles, the crazy thing about it is it turned into an advantage for me as a female, especially in Vegas. And I'll say this, and I don't know if it's really an unspoken thing, but the females are getting booked in Vegas real easy, and now sometimes even more preferred because, you know, the lounges, like the hotels, they want to see that eye candy, and we really are. So I guess there's also that part where you may be objectified, but you know, that's a whole other subject. So
Yeah.
I've endured both, you know, so you have to pay your dues as a DJ to get your name out there, and then once you establish it, where are you going to go with it? And being a female was slightly to my advantage.
Nice. So let's extend that question to Ice and Eman. I mean, like with all of us, we've all been in this game for like, I don't want to date us, but like 3 decades already. How would you guys describe that journey? Like, what would you say was the biggest challenge you had to overcome?
You want to take that one, Ice, first?
While they're thinking about this, I want to say that I listened to both of these guys on the radio when I was living back home. Like, so to be on the same screen with these guys is kind of surreal, but yeah.
Thanks, 360.
Thanks, Jinky. Yeah, to answer your question, I think, you know, I think one of the biggest challenges early on was the discussion of discrimination. You know, they didn't know how to deal with Asians. They didn't know how to deal with Filipinos. And I think it's still kind of like that to this day, but it's a lot more open now. But back in the 90s, especially, yeah, it was hard. It was hard getting into certain nightclubs. It was hard to DJ for certain things. When we were going up for certain gigs, again, we would get beat out by certain people that were just different nationalities other than Asians, because their perception of us was we didn't know what we were doing, or we weren't cool, or we were nerdy, or this and that, you know. But I think it's that perception that they had of Asians and Filipinos in that early 90s that we had to fight and overcome.
I think,
all right, Yui.
To Ice's point, I think being on radio as well, again, you could only hear us. You couldn't see us. So when we would make DJ appearances at clubs or at events, it'll be like, oh, I thought you were Hispanic, or I thought you're African American, or I thought you were tall, or this, that, this, that. But the positive thing about that was
I just got that right now. Sorry.
No, but honestly, I did get that back in the day. But the great thing about it is that when they did finally see us, they like, okay, I see who you are, and we got a chance to represent for our people and who we are. And again, later down the road, obviously with even social media starting to blow up over time, I think that really helped, you know, develop not just our credibility, but people really seeing our talents and giving us our opportunities. But to answer your question as well, Marlino, I think the challenges over the years is that we have to continue to adapt with the changes, because sometimes if we stick to one thing or stay focused on one thing, a lot of people tend to move on or discover newer things. We have to adapt to that. And if we stay complacent, then we kind of stay where we're at. So I think one of the key things is to always adapt to change. And I'm not saying to change you, but change with the times and do you during those times.
Yeah, that's good advice. Now, the interesting thing that both of you guys did mention is about Filipinos in radio, right? So, you know, for all of us being in that industry for a long time, I'm starting to see actually a lot more Filipinos now finally in the industry, whether it's on the record label side, whether it's on the, you know, communication, radio, television side. Now, for all of you guys, what does it mean to be Filipino right now in this music industry? I guess 360, we'll start with you.
In the music, I think at this point we've got a very good representation of Filipinos. And you know, there's the jokes that you hear on Twitter is like, oh yeah, all the badass DJs are Filipino. And I'm like, where's the lie? I can't I can't I can't disagree. I think, you know, all of the ones that you know, I looked up to or I just think are really amazing, they're Filipino DJs or ones that I learned from. But what that means to me is that I've always been proud to be Filipino. Being Filipino, especially after going back home and seeing, you know, all the areas of the Philippines that I just knew in my mind, and seeing my people, and just Filipinos are so generous and they're just so kind. The people there are just amazing. I didn't even want to leave. And that made me really proud. And to come back home to the States and have that experience and know those are my roots and I understand it now. And being thankful to have that experience, I'm super proud. But right now it's a little bit scary for us, because we are Asian and, you know, our people of all different, you know, walks of life in the Asian community, we're getting attacked right now, and so that's really tough for me to deal with. Seeing that in the news, I mean, even like last year, Black Lives Matter. This year, it's us. Like, you know, what's next? It's
Yeah.
really a crazy time right now, but still proud. I mean, you know, that I wear it on my sleeve for sure.
Thanks for sharing that 360. All right, E-Man, let's go to you.
No, honestly, like it's so great to see how a lot of our Filipino peers are making noise in the music industry, and it took time. Again, I will say that I think the DJing kind of helped open that up, because, you know, as DJs, and Ice kind of mentioned it earlier as well, that I mean, we also have other talents that's driven by music, and you know, again, just to see our DJs, like again, like when I started in radio, I didn't realize there was other Filipino DJs also in radio, like up in the Bay Area. And then you started seeing them in Chicago and New York, and then we just started kind of communicating, getting to know each other more, and then you just started seeing Filipinos evolve, not just on the DJing side, but again behind the scenes, running radio stations, heads of A&R, working, you know, promotions of music. So you just started seeing that evolve. And at the same time, our community also started getting closer. And even though it was becoming bigger, it became smaller in a great way because, like I said, we were just becoming closer. And again, just shouts to the many Filipinos that are represented in not just, you know, the music industry, but in so many industries, because people are checking for us. People are seeing who we are now.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, Ice.
Yeah, I mean, I echo both what 360 and E-Man says. It's an amazing time for our Filipino community because we are very present now. It was such a long journey from, you know, the 80s and 90s, especially with our parents and everyone making that transition coming over here and bringing us here. But yeah, from the time that we've been in radio and entertainment, before we would look around and like, the only other Filipino I know on radio is E-Man. Or up north, we would look at, you know, Rick Lee or something like that, you know, and then you look across the nation and, you know, maybe the Cracker Nuts or, you know, certain people in certain cities. But now in this day and age, it's amazing. You can look nationwide, you could look worldwide, and there's Filipino representation in all facets. I'm even seeing that the Duke of Venice is in here, and he's in the film industry side of things. So, you know, it's amazing. It's amazing that we have our hands in a lot of areas of entertainment, and I think we're only going to keep on growing from here.
And I couldn't agree with you guys more. Like even on Twitch, like I started a raid train for all house music, and then like 80% of the DJs on there are all house DJ or Filipinos, and I'm like, I need other people who aren't Filipinos, but it's so hard to come by because all the DJs on Twitch are Filipino. So there you go. So here's a follow-up question on that. You know, and I don't know if you guys have the answer to this, so any one of you guys can kind of jump in and talk about it. But how do we get more Filipinos, Filipino Americans interested in pursuing their passion and becoming a DJ? Like, what would you guys think is an answer? And if you don't have an answer, it's okay. I just want to throw that out there.
Well, I'll start. I think our parents came here to the U.S. with the hopes of us, becoming professionals and like establishing ourselves. They didn't want us to suffer or have a hard time making it in life, and
Yeah.
so they were encouraging like these type of careers. But I think for us that are born here and we're having our own kids and we're trying to push them to follow their dreams and their passions, I think we're a lot more open-minded, and we know because we grew up over here, and we can help guide it. So I think these next few generations, you're going to start seeing a lot more people open to it. And it's not just music, it's not just entertainment. There's gaming, there's esports, there's all kinds of facets of entertainment, or even just entertainment period that Filipinos can be involved in. And I think you're going to start seeing an explosion. I mean, we're just now seeing the music side explode, and it took like 25 plus years for that to happen. And I think you're going to just start seeing it on the film side, on the TV side, on the back end, on the esports side, on the gaming side. It's just going to be a crazy explosion. But yeah, you're seeing it now on the music side and the dance side. And it took 20 plus years for that to happen.
All right. Anybody else want to jump in on that?
I think to Ice's point as well. I think that with the change of times, I think that we're definitely more open. Even with our kids, I think what's interesting is that we all live similar lifestyles. We do a lot of the same things. We listen to the same music. We like the same stuff. So I think, and they also kind of see what we do. So they kind of think it's also cool in a sense. So if anything, I think if we continue to show our support to our kids and say, hey, this is cool, or whatever they want to do, if it's DJing or anything else, they'll get into it.
I'm still trying to get cool with my kids. I don't even know what lingo to say. Like I say the no cab, and they're like, that was like last year, dude.
Anymore. I remember.
All right, 360. What about you? I'll go for it. Go say what you're
I
gonna
was
say
just gonna
before.
say, like, I remember I said BRB like a couple years ago, and I got the look, and they're like, nobody says that anymore, and I'm like, oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm like, I thought I was the cool mom, but I guess I'm not. Yeah, I think exactly what Ice and E-Man were saying. We have to. It starts with us as parents. If you are a parent, or just somebody to encourage. If whether you're an aunt or a family friend or whatever, for them to. People are watching us. My family, my kids are watching me. And they're like, what are you doing? And it's not just the music. So I work in design. I'm in design. I'm a photographer. I'm building things. I'm doing a whole bunch of stuff. I'm dabbling in video, and my daughter watches that. So she's like, I'm going to try doing the video thing. She's amazing at video edits. And at the time that she was doing this she was like 11. So for us to like mold our children to want to go and do those things is outside of being a lawyer or a nurse or a doctor, just to encourage what they're really good at. I noticed like my other daughter wants to do photography. So I'm teaching her how to shoot because I have like full studio setup at home. And now I'm teaching her to shoot, and she's now shooting my promo photos, just putting those things in their hands and giving them the tools. I think really important. Whether they go somewhere with it or not, it's up to them, but for us to foster that is really important for the next generation.
Okay, so let's explore the DJing experience aspect of it. So as we know, DJing in your bedroom is an experience. It's very different from DJing at a club where you're in front of a crowd or things like that. And it's even different when you're DJing on the radio because you don't see anybody.
Right.
So now most of us are DJing online or we're doing live streams. How has that been different for all of you? Because I'll tell you, for me, it's been an experience. It's either good one day or bad the next day, and I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. And so I just give up sometimes. But maybe to share that experience a little bit, because since we all went into lockdown, we've all resorted to this new, I don't want to call it like a new thing, but live stream has kind of been the savior for a lot of us to either be in social, or just even to get our nerves out to play the music that we want to play. So let's talk about that really quickly. We'll start with Ice.
Well, this whole thing of live streaming, DJing from home, DJing from my living room, it's been a fun journey. Of course, it was very heartbreaking and frustrating and every emotion under the sun trying to get started. But once you got it going and you got a rhythm and you got used to it, man, it's the funnest thing in the world. I've enjoyed every minute of it, and I think more than anything, I've loved being able to just DJ from home and then be able to touch a worldwide audience from being at home. It's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, 360. What about you? And then we'll go to Eman last.
Yeah. I think we're all having the same experience. But like the whole Twitch thing and the reach that you have with it. And for me, I'm always switching up themes and overlays and trying to make it fun, because now I feel like I've embraced it. Twitch has really helped me in the quarantine, because I'm very social. So this gives me that outlet to connect with people. But now it's also, I could be really creative. So I do a whole bunch of different things. I create characters. I have a whole bunch of stuff. So now it's not a job, but it's like, it kind of is. It's like, well, it's a production, really. So now it's like my own TV show. What can I do with it? So I think that's been my experience, but amazing people. And now I have extended family all over the world. And that is nuts. That's completely nuts. It's so insane. Yeah.
That's dope. All right, E, last but not least, you.
I'm a little bit late to the Twitch game, only because again, during the pandemic, if many might know, might not know, I'm still on the radio. I'm on 2 different radio stations, and it was really tough to kind of find the time to jump on Twitch and do that. And while we were still on radio, we were doing our versions of live streams through YouTube and other stuff. But thanks to Ice and some of my other peers, they were like, "Yo, like you got to get on it." And I finally got on it. New Year's Eve was the first time I actually did my own Twitch stream. And Ice again has been so supportive of helping me get out there over these past couple months. But what I love about Twitch is a few things. And to 360 and Icy Ice's points, it brought everyone together. It's not just a local reach, it's a global reach. And to meet and entertain in a unique fashion, because we had to create, or we are creating unique ways to put on a show through Twitch. And I think if anything, what I really enjoyed about seeing DJs and my peers and meeting other DJs, especially the ones that I know, that I'm starting to see their personalities really truly come out, because the ones that have been shy, who's been quiet, who's been low key, and they've kind of been, and I hate to say the word forced, but they've been put in a position where they had to be them even more. And I think that's one of the things I really love about Twitch is it really just got people's creativity and personalities out and brought it to the next level.
Mm-hmm. And that's the cool thing you said that, because even for me, like when I watched you stream, I think it was the last week, and I didn't know you knew how to rock the drums. And so watching you just jam on the drums during your set, I was like, oh, that's freaking dope. Like I had no idea you knew how to do that. So yeah, I couldn't agree with you more.
No, it's all good. No, definitely. And I was playing drums since high school.
Yeah. So for everybody tuning in right now, welcome. This is Filipinos in Music, the DJ edition presented by SoCal Filipinos Facebook group and FilAm Arts. We have Icy Ice, E-Man, and DJ 360 in the building, and they're talking about their experiences. And we're going to do some Q&A in about 10 minutes. So if you have a question for any of our panelists, go ahead and put them in a chat. We're going to save it for the end of the talk. But let's go ahead, and I have one more question for you guys in regards to experience. So we know what it's like to be DJs in the professional world, but now that all of you guys have families, what is it like being a DJ having a family? Is it any different, or what does that experience look like for you?
Well, for me, it's cool because my kids get to see that I am living my passion every day. They see that I'm, daddy is like, he's working, but my work is play, and then they're also seeing that I'm committed. I'm doing this on a daily basis, and that I'm on certain times, and I do my thing. The challenging part though is, a lot of our hip hop music has a lot of bad words and bad versions, and it's difficult because the kids are just right here next to me in the next room, and I gotta play it really low, or I just gotta play like the clean versions, and then like people call me out, hey man, that's a clean version, or hey, that's not the real version of that song.
Hey
like,
Dad, what does tap that mean? Can you tell me what tap that means?
Or wop wop.
Yeah, so it's yeah, wop, man, wet ass.
We just say it's walis and
It's a dance.
this.
It's the walis.
Walis and patis.
But yeah, no, it's fun having the kids there, and you know, showing them, and then I get to talk to them about it. You know, like I try and encourage my kids because they're into their own things. They're not into DJing. They're not into music the way we are. But you know, like golf, for instance, I try and relate what I'm doing to what they're doing with golf. And then the same type of training we put into DJing, learning our scratches, our blends, our mixes, things like that. I'm like, you got to put those same type of effort into your putting, into your chipping, into your drives, into all of that stuff, you know? So just it's fun. It's fun to be able to share the experience and kind of relate it to what they're into.
That's a great perspective. All right, E, your turn.
My situation is a little bit unique and different. What I really enjoyed about, DJing and also having a family is that a lot of times I get a chance for them to kind of be involved and be a part of it. One of the cool things I got to do was DJ at Disneyland, and to have them come out and just kind of really experience and be a part of it, and even party in a sense with me at Disneyland while I DJ. It was a great feeling. And again, with the stuff that I do for the radio station, for some of them that come with me to an event, getting the opportunity, if it's any of the concerts that I put together, if I'm DJing on stage at the event, or even giving them the opportunities to meet some of these artists as well. And again, it's been great. But again, it's a great feeling just to even see them with me if I'm DJing an event, like I said, if it's at Disney or if it's even these charity basketball games that I'm at. Like I kind of see that as family time as well with them.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. What about you, 360?
Yeah, I think that's true. The family time aspect. My kids grew up with us, like with myself and their father, in music, DJing, doing weddings, doing those kinds of gigs, and then radio show, and now the streaming. It is also something that I can do with my kids. You'll see them sometimes pop in and start dancing with me. They'll be doing their TikTok. If they hear TikTok song, they're going to come in and they're going to start dancing on stream, which is really awesome. A lot of times they scare me because I don't know that they're coming, and then you can see that I get really startled. I'm like, whoa, where'd you come from? They just open the door to the sound room and just pop in. But it's something they're very aware of. They're very cognizant of what I'm doing. Bad words. Okay. I probably get crucified for this, but I don't play the clean versions even when my kids are around. And simple reason is they're a little bit older. Number two, they know they shouldn't say it. Number three, it's just, they just, and that's just what I do. But they're part of what I do. And it's really great to have them with us or with me.
That's amazing.
You be playing them Bastos. You be playing them Bastos versions. Huh?
Usually, hold on. Wait, usually they're not here. They're gone. Sometimes they do. They're like, "Mommy, we heard you," and I was like, "Oh, well,
360 got those the Bastos breaks in her crates.
It's great. I've been in radio so long that when I hear a dirty version, I'll flinch really quick and be like, "Wait, is that on the radio or is that something else?"
That's like your natural reaction, right?
It is.
And I don't know if you guys can all relate to this. Like, your kids can also be the most humbling. So I remember, like, my kids see me when I'm streaming as well. And so one night I threw them a DJ party for them, like in our downstairs. I played 2 songs. They were into it. After the 3rd song, they were like, "I hate you right now. Like, you're not playing what I want to hear." Like, they literally just stopped dancing. I just sat there like, man, I must suck if I can't get my kids to dance anymore, and I couldn't get them to dance anymore. So I ended up.
You just lost your crowd.
I lost my crowd. I couldn't read them.
You weren't
Couldn't
reading the
crowd.
room right.
You cleared the floor, Marlino.
Yep, most definitely. So I mean, again, as much as it's fun to have our kids there, yeah, they could be the most to put you in place real quick. So all right, just a couple quick questions for you guys, and then we're gonna get to the audience questions here. But really quickly, off the top of your head, I know a lot of you guys have been around celebrities and possibly have DJ'd for celebrity events. What would you say has been your most favorite event or a celebrity that you've DJ'd? Really quickly, off the top of your head, what comes first to mind?
Mariah.
Nice.
Talib Kweli.
Nice.
Shaq's birthday.
Oh, that you win.
Nice.
You win.
No, Mariah. No, E-Man got
We had a Laker. What?
E-Man had the.
Did you get to see her sorted M&Ms, E? I'm just curious.
No, but honestly, she's always hospitable. Every time I see her, she does like to pop champagne, and she loves red wine.
Oh,
Nice. So I guess the last question for you guys before we get to, well, I got two more actually. Upcoming projects. What do you guys have coming up?
I've been recruited to do some corporate video events. It's a really crazy thing. So they're like, oh, we saw you on Twitch, and we were wondering if you do stuff for corporate gigs. I'm like, what does that mean? So they're like, oh, we're doing a virtual event. Can you record like 30 minutes, and to 15 minutes with the time countdown timer, because we're gonna insert those into the presentation, and this is going to be their virtual break or little party that they'll have. And I was like, oh, that's crazy. So things like Twitch is bringing something new to even corporate events that you would normally see live.
Nice, congrats.
So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
All right, Ian, you're next.
Again, I'm still stuck with the radio stations, not just on air, but also off air. Programming 3 radio stations still at the moment, which takes up a lot of time. But upcoming projects, really just kind of helping out, my brother DJ Verman and a few other people, just really working on things to expose more of the Filipino artists in the Philippines out here.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. All right, Ice.
Well, again, you guys can catch me on Twitch 11 a.m. daily, and then I guess on top of that, like, things are starting to open up now, and last week I got to do a Lakers birthday party at their home, and then I just came back from a Porsche event that I just DJ'd this morning.
Nice.
So
Nice.
things are opening up. I've got a lot of different events that are lined up coming up, and Snapback is coming back real soon.
Yep.
Nice. And that backyard boogie looked pretty nice too, Ice. So
Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
that was a nice backyard. All right, last question for you guys, and then we'll open it up to the audience. We know there's a lot of people watching you guys right now, especially a lot of DJs. So for all the DJs watching, what would you say is what would you want to say to them, especially when they're in this position of taking that next step and becoming a DJ? Like, what would be the one thing that you'd want to tell them?
Just one thing.
Well, something I tell them is, always keep practicing. If you think that you've perfected and got to you got to your skill level, keep practicing. And I always tell people as well, know your music, because you might know your songs, but do you really know your music? I think that if anything, that just kind of helps. And another thing I tell DJs too is, like, don't ever take no for an answer. If someone tells you no or you can't do it, use that as motivation to take yourself to the next level.
Great advice.
Yeah. I got nothing after that. That's almost exact.
Yeah, I echo what E-Man says, but I will add to that in also, like, everybody has their lane, everybody has their specialty or the thing that they're into. So don't just always try to be like the other person.
Mm-hmm.
Find what fits you, what's unique to you, what feels good to you, and then follow that path. Because not everybody's a club DJ, not everybody is a tour DJ, not everybody's a radio DJ. Some people enjoy doing weddings, some people love doing corporate. So find what's unique to you,
Mhm.
you know, do you, basically, in a nutshell.
Yeah, to
That's great advice.
piggyback off of that, like I think like for somebody who's done this for a while, or once you get comfortable, is to get uncomfortable. I did that before. I was like, okay, I just like boom bap. That's all I like. Throwbacks, this and that. No, now I'm playing like electronic, dance music, house music. Oh my God. I used to hate house music, hated it. Now I'm like, let's rock a house set. Let's do it, So I think that's what that is. Like, all like, now I could say more versatile, really, truly open format. And that's what Vegas kind of did for me, is like, you have to really be open format, um, and, appreciate all kinds of music. So,
Yes.
That's great advice. So thank you again, Icy Ice, DJ E-Man 360. So let's open it up for the floor now. If you guys have a question or shout you want to say to any of our panelists, go ahead and put that on there. We're going to do 5 minutes of that. If not, we'll just start shouting some people out. So we got to shout out, of course, some of you guys may have heard DMX is in the ICU right now.
Mhm.
Pretty much, the details are he OD'd, he had a heart attack, and so he's fighting for his life right now. So prayers up to DMX out there. Let's give a quick shout out to Cindy one more time. She says, love you guys, always proud of you, gotta run. I don't know who Facebook user is, but they've been talking a lot here in the chat, and they said hello Bastos Jams. So shout out to them. Okay, so Jamie Incarnation says, if you didn't become a DJ, what career path would you have taken?
Mm. I
That's
love
always
it
a
that they're
tough
not
one, right?
saying anything. I love that they're not saying anything, because I know like E-Man and Icy Ice were like made for this. Like they were made for music and DJing and doing that stuff. Like they're like, I don't know, this is it.
Actually, right after high school, I went to I went to an aeronautical university because I really wanted to get into aviation. And
Nice.
my biggest mistake, I mean, it was in Prescott, Arizona, Embry-Riddle. I think my biggest mistake, and I told myself, I'm just going to stop DJing or slow down from DJing. I think my biggest mistake is that I brought my turntables with me. And and while I was going to school out there, I also picked up a gig at a saloon, DJing on a Wednesday night. But again, like I think that if it wasn't for DJing, if I wasn't into DJing, I think I'd be in the aviation business. I love flying, I love traveling, I love airplanes.
All right, Ice, what about you?
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't
You be a
picture
doctor?
myself in anything else, but I think I've tried different facets of like I tried concert promotions and things like that, working for a concert promotion company, and I didn't like the desk job part of it. I like being out on the field. I like being on the concert itself, but I didn't like sitting at a desk. I've also tried. I've tried touring and things like that, and that's tough, being out on a long tour. And so like other than DJing, I mean, I just love DJing, period. I've tried a lot of different aspects of it. I don't see myself doing anything else, but yeah, I mean, you never know.
All right, so here I'm gonna flip that question really quick, and again, quick top of the mind answer, just really fast. If you can be any profession for one day, what profession would that be? Other than being a DJ, of course.
I would be a pro snowboarder, because I would love to do them flips and tricks and all that stuff.
Nice. 360.
A forensic scientist.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, E-Man.
A professional sleeper. No, I probably would
like that. Can I change my answer?
I'd be a traveler. I'd probably be a traveler. I would just travel.
Nice. All right, so here goes. Facebook user again. They're on here a lot. How do you guys keep motivated to play long sets through social media, Twitch, for example, since you can't see people? And that's Mike D from Vegas.
That was a great question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great question. I guess I'll start. I was always of the frame of mind I would do like an hour set, and that's what I started with. And I would only do it like once, twice a week. But then you do it, and 1 hour doesn't seem long enough. An hour and a half, 2 hours, that seems just like that's like easy, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, we built up to it, and you know, it's just the love of the music, the love of entertaining people, and then of course, you know, people being in the chat and you know, supporting and all of that. You want to be there for them and play for them. So yeah, it's just been an evolution for me, like and progression.
All right, E-Man.
To Ice's point again, it's if anything, I feel off the energy of the chat, and it's something that I do is like I don't even want to know the number of people that are viewing. It's kind of like my radio mentality, where you have no idea who's listening. You might have 1, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. Doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I want to rock for. Doesn't matter who's watching or listening. I want to give that same energy. So again, like I again, what keeps me motivated is just the passion and just the energy that I get from the people in the chat.
That's great. 360.
Yeah, I feel the same. I usually have a really great room, and that actually boosts your energy. I also, like, I set out to do just an hour. But when I'm not doing a raid train or whatever, and I'm open to keep going, man, that it turns 1 hour turned into 4, 5 one time. But I think really alcohol, number one. Alcohol. I have become a really strong drinker in the quarantine. Like, I mean, I think in one session, I reached, like, I don't know, 15 to 17, 20 shots. I was still
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
we were going. So yeah, chat and alcohol. Final answer.
Isn't it crazy? Like being online, you know, like an hour, 2 hours seems long, right? But when we were back in the day, we would DJ 4 hours a gig. It was like nothing. But then like being online, like, man, sometimes like an hour, 2 hours does seem like longer than what it normally is. But let's get to this one last question and then we'll wrap things up here. So the question is, have you played in the gay circuit parties?
I have not.
I have. Actually, when I was just starting out, one of the promoters that continually hired me and Carl White Knight back in the day is a Filipino gay promoter, and her name was Betch.
I love
She would
it.
always do her parties at the Holiday Inn in downtown LA. But yeah, she was one of the first. And then, of course, when I got on radio, I did the Gay Pride Festival. I did the Gay Pride Float, the Gay Pride After Party. Then I've done weddings. I've done all kinds of stuff. So yeah, I've been very active playing in the community.
Nice. All right, E-Man.
The same with Ice. I've done many events in parties for the gay community. And again, at the end of the day, you're entertaining the audience, and you feel off of their energy and their vibe, and you have a great time with them. So again, you know, it's all about it's about who we entertain. It doesn't matter who they are, what they are. And at the end of the day, I also say too, like, just from my experiences from DJing around the world, music is universal. Music is the universal language. So it doesn't matter where you are, or who they are. They enjoy the music and the vibe, and that's what we feel off of.
Hey, I will say though, like, the funnest wedding I've ever done, and you know, I have done a lot of weddings, especially Filipino weddings, but the funnest wedding I've ever done was a gay couple's wedding. And it was just the people, the crowd, they were just so fun from beginning to end. They were constantly dancing.
That's dope.
I mean, we're talking cocktail hour, we're talking dinner, we're talking just everything. They were just dancing the whole time.
Yeah.
Man, that sounds like fun. Once again, I want to thank all our panelists, our fam in the building. Of course, Icy Ice, DJ E-Man, DJ 360. Thank you guys so much for taking the time out to hang out and share your stories with us. Also, big thanks to SoCal Filipinos and FilAm Arts for putting this all together. And then lastly, I got to thank everybody for tuning in and watching and spending your time with us, especially on this holiday weekend. So really quickly, go ahead and shout how people can find you and get access to either your mixes or just watching you on your live streams.
You could catch me on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/DJ Icy Ice. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you, SoCal Filipinos. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate you, Marlino. Great interview today.
Oh, thank you.
That's really awesome.
Go ahead, Jinky.
You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv /DJ_360, or you could find me on Instagram at _DJ360_. And again, also, thank you guys. This was really awesome. Awesome panel. A really great interview.
All right, E-Man.
You can catch me on Twitch, twitch.tv /DJ E-Man. I do something called Funky Fridays every Friday night at 9:30 West Coast time. And tonight I do something called Get It Poppin'.
Get it poppin'.
Get it poppin'.
And that's basically where we get it poppin' with pop anthems in the mix. So it's a lot of pop music and stuff. But that's 8:30 tonight, LA time on Twitch. You can catch me also on Instagram and Twitter, DJ E-Man. And for many of you who live in the LA area, I am still on Power 106. I'm on Thursdays at 10:20 in the morning. I'm doing a pop-up throwback mix. I'm on K-Day, 935 K-Day, every day at 9:15. I'm sorry, at 9:20 in the morning. I'm on K-Day actually at 7 o'clock this evening. And I want to shout out my wife, Joy, who I see is in the chat. Also, my mom, Virginia Kokia, that's in the chat. And again, a lot of names are showing up as Facebook users. So just shout out to everyone.
Yeah, that's weird.
Out with us today. And SoCal Filipinos, Jason, Marlino, thank you guys so much for having us. This was dope.
Oh, real quick, I want to say what up to the Ice Pack, because a lot of Ice Pack is in here right now. And
Ice Pack, what up, Ice Pack?
Mike D, Lila, Sky High Mama, they all in the house. Thank you guys. And thank you to Giselle, handling it backstage, giving us all the cues back here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you got Jinky, any last shouts you want to get, or
yeah, if you can follow Tita Junky. Tita Junky is my alter ego. She is on Instagram. It's at TITAJUNKI. She's going to be taking over DJ Zaldi's channel, doing some OPM action. That's going to be fun. And she's also on Twitch, so she may pop up in your stream to say hello. And some broken English, that'd be awesome.
All right. The best part is when Tita Junky actually raids into your stream. You don't even know what to do after that. That happened to me. So thanks.
Also, just a FYI, this is a PSA from Tita Junky. She wants you to brush your tits. Everybody, brush your tits.
All right, family. Thank you guys again so much. Have a great weekend. I will see you guys online, of course, and you guys be safe, and especially with everything open up. I mean, shoot, I was just at Irvine Railroad Park yesterday. It was supposed to be social distancing, but people are like breathing on my neck. So just be safe out there, you guys.
Yes. Thank you guys so much.
All right. Thank you again. And then last but not least, let's bring up Giselle Tongi Walters in the house. She's going to talk to us about FilAm ARTS and everything else here. So G, where are you? Hi, G.
How's it going, everyone? Thank you so much to all our DJs today. I just wanted to invite everybody. FilAm ARTS is a nonprofit organization, and please consider donating to FilAm ARTS at www.filamarts.org so we can continue to do these awesome, amazing panels. And I just want to say thank you to our guests and, of course, to you, DJ Marlino. I wasn't a DJ. I was a VJ for MTV Asia back in the day. But, man, you guys make the party happen. So I just want to give so much love to all three of you, all four of you, for doing this on behalf of SoCal Filipinos and FilAm ARTS. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Jay. Actually, I wanted to tell you, I did see you in, was it Hello, Love, Goodbye? Was it that movie? There was one movie I saw you. I was like, I got to call G. I'll message it to you next time, but I definitely appreciate you. Thank you for being a part of this and helping put all this together and running tech. And, you just do everything. You're such an amazing person. So I'm excited to be a part of this as well. So appreciate you.
Thank you. Always of service to the community. Salamat.
You're welcome. Also, now let's bring Jason back. Jason, where are you at, brother?
I am right
there you are.
here. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching today's panel. Thank you, DJ Marlino, for hosting and moderating. That was such a great conversation, and totally appreciate you. To SoCal Filipinos and FilAm ARTS, and to everybody that's watching, The video, you can rewatch it if you happen to come in late. So make sure to rewatch it, or you can also share it onto your personal Facebook page. We will be uploading the video to YouTube and Instagram, so you can catch it there. Thank you to our panelists, Icy Ice, E-Man 360. Again, thank you to Marlino, and to G, of course, our behind the scenes. Thank you so much for their partnership, as well as to FilAm Arts. Our next panel is going to be next Saturday, April 10th at 2 p.m. for a cooking demo with AC Borals. Don't miss that. Join us. And it's also hosted by Red Concepcion, and it's being sponsored by Island Pacific and Sarangani Bay. So with that, have a wonderful rest of your weekend and have a happy Easter. Good afternoon. We'll see you